Tunnel Rat alert. Civil defense information will be broadcast at 6:40.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Y2K, how can we prepare?
Stop a few of their machines and radios. Throw them into darkness for a few hours.
We are fighting for our lives. My family must survive.
Over 5 years, 1,000 gallons of gas, air filtration, water filtration.
Coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada. Streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, and Odyssey. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim. Today is November the 12th, 2023, and this is episode 397 of Workshop Radio. How the hell is everyone out there this evening? In just a minute, we're going to bring Brian Alexovich, a good buddy of mine, you guys all know who he is, for a record-breaking 6th appearance on Workshop Radio. But real quick, let's knock the announcements out of the way, and then we'll get into his chatting about what he's been up to and how to make money while living in an RV. Number one, guys, Sunday evening, remember our sponsor, Amy Dingman of A Farmer's Kind of Life. She has a podcast, she has a website, she is an author, she's an incredible lady. And if you're looking to get just a little bit motivated, and with a smile on her face while she motivates you, add her to your face. Wow, what a night tonight. Podcast feed. Wow, get that out of there, Tim. Anyway, if you're looking to plug your ear holes with a little bit more motivation, then add Amy, A Farmer's Kind of Life, to your podcast feed. Number two, guys, if you haven't seen yet, we have started a new video series. It's kind of like a vlog. Who would have thought that this ugly fella from Canada, 42 years old, would start a vlog? I thought that was something for millennials or Gen Zs or something. But anyway, we have labeled it or titled it Delinquents Gully Chronicles. So if you're interested in seeing the goings on the Tennessee property, my good buddy Brian has been doing a ton of work there. We've been working together on it. So we've got right now 8 episodes that come up every second Friday. Check them out on the YouTube channel. They're there. 2 episodes live now. It seems to be kind of blowing up. I'm excited. And number 3, guys, don't forget, what's the free thing you can do? Number 1, you can like this. But number 2, share it. Let people know we're live. And if there's a special episode, just the other night I did one on entrepreneurship, and the community said how much they absolutely loved it. If it's an episode that absolutely jumps up and grabs you by the you-know-what, give it a share. Let other people know about it too. And with that, hang on one second here. Big bad Mr. Alexovich, how art thou?
What's going on, man?
Man, I haven't seen you in, we've probably talked a few times, but what's it been, a month now since I left? I don't know, 3 weeks since I left Tennessee?
Yeah, I think 3 weeks, month.
We've had this episode planned for, man, at least 3 or 4 hours, I think, haven't we?
Yeah. We were putting skirting on the camper, and I checked my phone because we were recording the whole thing, and there was a message that was like, "Hey, can you do a live with me tonight?"
I appreciate it. I've been, I think I did something like 5 or 6 interviews in the last 10 days, and I realized I didn't have one booked tonight. Thought, you know what? I think it's time to bring Brian back on. So this is, I went back and looked. Oh, shoot. I had them all written down. You were episode 29 was the earliest one you did. And this is the 6th appearance on Workshop Radio. And that is definitely a record. So
I got a lot to talk about, I guess.
You did lots to talk about. Oh, shut up, Tim. And we got to shout out our buddy Off-Grid Ping from just up the road of Delinquents Gully. And he helped. Did you see the driveway, Brian? Did I send you the completed photo?
You sent me the completed photo. I haven't been out since they were coming out. I was out there that morning, and then I stopped and talked to Jamie, and he said they were coming later that afternoon, and I haven't been back out yet, but I did see the picture.
I'm excited. And Jamie, of course, was nice enough to send some video for a future episode of Delinquents Gully Chronicles. So. And we can't forget Kyle. He says, "Oh boy, so much sexy on the same screen." So what have you been up to lately? Oh, sorry. Go. What's that?
Kyle's all excited now.
Oh, well, we know where he goes, you know. So you said you've been out putting some tarp up on the old RV?
Yeah. Corey and I just did a so we decided we're going to stay in Tennessee for the winter. We've been traveling around for about a year, had some longer stops, then we stopped here for a while, went back on another road trip, came back and decided we were going to stay till May at least and see what winter's like. Because I mean, the end goal of all of this is to have some properties set up that we could go to when we wanted, if we needed to, if we wanted to. And the first one, we wanted to make sure that we could kind of make it all year round if we wanted to, if we needed to, if shit went sideways and we needed a place to go, we had that place that we could make it happen the whole way around. And so we were here during the summer. We know what that's like. Now we want to overwinter here and see kind of what that's like. And so one of the things we wanted to do to winterize the camper was get some skirting on it to kind of keep the wind from sucking the heat out. And when we started looking at them, they were kind of spendy, like buying custom ones. And there were all sorts of different types. There were like inflatable ones that filled all the gaps. So I finally was like, I'm not spending thousands of dollars to do this. I'll do it like half-assed and get some foam board and do something like that. And then I saw a website that had DIY for under $200 or $250 or something. I'm like, well, I could handle $200. Like I can do this shit. So I read it. Basically, we ordered a big used vinyl billboard tarp and cut it that fit under the RV, used a grommet tool and some adhesive hooks and hung it around the bottom. Took us like 2 days and should have a video coming out here this week. Hopefully I got a bunch of video and hope to put that together. But yeah, that's what I was doing when you reached out to do tonight.
What was on the tarp? We were chatting for a minute ahead of time. Did it have an advertisement on it?
No, it was black on one side, white on the other. I think it was like a blank because they offered those. And I think that's what they use like when for backing or when they use blanks, because there was the option for black and white either side. And then there was used advertisement, but I think they had less stock of that.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Would have sucked if it had been like a strip club or something like that.
I mean, I'd have been all right with it, but Corey got a bonus out of the whole thing because we had these little adhesive hooks that we were using on the outside, and she's like, "Well, I have the solar Christmas lights from Texas last year," and so she had me put all the hooks up on the side of the camper, and our Christmas lights went up today. I'm gonna tell you.
Nice. Well, that's just in time for it to start snowing, right?
Yeah, it was 70 today.
Sure.
She said she's like, so she posted the picture in my Telegram group, and Kyle's like, it's not even Thanksgiving yet. She goes, I don't care. She's like, I don't really care about Christmas either. I just like the lights, especially when it gets dark at 4:30 in the afternoon.
It's funny. I posted that the other day. It was some meme where Santa was shooting an elf because Christmas lights went up too early. And I realized that there's a big difference. Again, the old Canadian and American thing. Down there, everybody's worried about waiting until after Thanksgiving. Up here, everybody's worried about waiting until after Remembrance Day. November 11th. And but we just put them up whenever we put them up. And yeah, we've got them up and we're going.
Corey said she must be part Canadian because we turned them on today, the day after Remembrance Day.
Well, she spent a hell of a lot of time in Minnesota, and it's pretty close.
We were farther north than 70% of the Canadian population, I think, when we were in Minnesota.
People don't realize that how much of Canada is actually south, because when you've got your largest Toronto, how many people is just there, and when you look at the map, they're a long ways down, man.
Yep.
So I figured, what better way? I knew a good topic, something that would be very search engine friendly, would be talking about.
You're whoring me out.
I am whoring you, but it's always in good jest. You know how it is. But I wanted to pick your brain a bit because you've been into some pretty cool things lately, especially your little side trip you took. So you've been starting to make starting to make a few things work as far as side hustle income and that sort of thing?
Dialing things in. Really threw spaghetti at the wall, man. Like when we took off, there was some buffer time there, and that was kind of built into the budget, and threw spaghetti at the wall, and so saw what worked for what we were doing and what worked for what we want to do in the future, and what I actually really enjoyed doing, which you kind of have to do to make it long term. So we've kind of explored a bunch of things, and now that we've made this decision to sit down until May at least, and have at least one centralized location, can start pursuing some other things that have been on a back burner as a backup, as a like kind of while the other things build option. So got all sorts of things going on.
So for somebody who's been out there, or I mean, it's still cool. I mean, it's neat because I don't know what, a year and a half ago now we started. Well, you've been talking about it longer than that, but you kind of launched last year at Self-Reliance Festival.
Yeah.
So somebody who's kind of in your process, or where you were 18 to 24 months ago, thinking, all right, we're going to sell the house and we're going to move into an RV with 17, dogs the size of animals. I don't know. Anyway, if they wanted to do that, where would you start? Because I bet you made some mistakes along the way, but what would you kind of mention?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing was Corey is able to work remotely. That kind of made all of this really possible at all, is the fact that she worked really hard to get her position transition to fully remote, and anywhere we have internet, she's able to work. So we worked that out. We figured out how to have internet and how to have at least some remote income, and then funded some of that through the sale of the house and that whole adventure. So that was the beginning. That I would figure out how to at least to get started, or have a plan or income coming in as you leave.
Was that pre-COVID that Corey started working from home, or did you guys start encouraging it when you thought you were going to move, or did it all just sort of happen at once?
Years, like 5 years it took her to get it fully remote. It really started when we bought our farm, which was 90 miles from her job, and she basically said, I can get a job locally for a half of the wage, or I can drive 90 miles every both ways and keep working. And so she worked with her boss to get part-time remote, like 2 days from home and 3 days from work. Proved herself through that. And then when COVID hit and they wanted them to go full-time remote, or they were remodeling their office or something, she had already been kind of established in it. So she took to it like nothing. And she was full-time remote through COVID, and then needed to get it like cemented, because there was always that thing that it was going to come back. Like, nationwide. Oh yeah. And she needed to be able to leave the state.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's
so,
cool. So,
yeah, it was a 5-year process of finally getting approval for it. And it took a lot of like being willing to leave, and being valuable enough that they wanted to keep her.
That's fair. And then you said internet. So what do? Go park in a McDonald's every time you want to live stream?
No. Well, so man, it's changed so much from when we first decided to leave in 2019, fall of 2019, when we started planning like the RV and how we were going to do it. It was cellular internet was what you did. Like, you had a boosted data SIM card that you used in a cell router, and it broadcast a Wi-Fi signal, and we used data, like cell data, to do all our internet stuff, which is expensive. It's really expensive. And like we maxed out we maxed out our cell phone plan. We had a second and a third data line because we capped the data lines that we were buying on the second phone line and the third phone line. And it was very unreliable. Like, you had to have service. There had to be service there to get service. Like that's
Great.
it was. So it was kind of limiting where we could go, and it was very stressful for Corey because we would travel and we would get there on Saturday and we would set up and we would kind of do a speed test. And you know, my podcast, my live stream, it is what it is. Like, it's not paying my bills. Her job is. So if we didn't really have stable internet through the cell phone, she was screwed. And so she saved vacation days for that in case we didn't have internet. We were always willing to move an extra day. We were always kind of having a backup plan if we didn't have internet. And then right before we launched, Starlink went to where you could get it as a RV package. It was more expensive, but pretty much the same service. And so we bought that, and it's been incredible. It's compared to the cellular internet. We still have the cellular internet as backup. So if for some reason Starlink isn't working or we can't get it because of trees, whatever reason, we can still have that backup internet and Corey can still work. But it's super slow compared to Starlink. It was unreal. Starlink is still a little spotty. We might lose connection at some point tonight or whatever. But as far as the better than the other alternative, it's fantastic.
And it seems to be getting better too, because each time you've come on, both you and Ryan Buford from Next Generation, he comes on and he has Starlink as well. And every time the signal seems like there's less drop. And you don't even, like, when I first had him on, he would, like, it would be dead air for 15 seconds. Whereas now a lot of times with you, the picture might freeze, but the audio keeps going. So It seems like it's a bit more or a lot more stable than it was.
He's launching satellites all the time, and that's what it is. It's a matter of covering all the zone completely, I think, from what I understand from other people telling me.
You imagine being that dude. He's like, well, I think we're going to launch another 30 satellites today. You know, I mean, that dude thinks like.
So we were having this discussion. So some of the guys I'm doing work for, you met, they were out at work day. They were at SRF, happened to live about 10 miles from here. We were out having dinner with Norman and Herschel, and we were talking about Starlink and SpaceX and all that. And I think he was saying that they lose 300 a year just into the atmosphere. And so they have to put up 300 just to stay even, and then anything on top of that. So they're launching at least, I don't know what the number is, but it's fantastic.
Dude, I just heard today that they're getting ready to launch a $25,000 electric vehicle over in Europe. They think it's going to be like, it's going to change the industry, because that seems to be what people are, the next thing, you know. They're calling it the VW bug of electric vehicles. I don't know. We'll see. But he is.
I don't know what they're going to do with the batteries. That's my whole hang up on the electric car thing. Is the 100%. Batteries.
I think about it all the time. I mean, you're going from Florida, you got to evacuate because of a hurricane. It's not like you can just stop and fill up full of gas, you know. You've got what you've got.
There's that. There's the getting stuck in the snowstorm in Minnesota, or the fact that the heater takes more than anything that you could ever do in the battery, and you're driving, and where you're at, same thing. But my bigger concern is mining the batteries and disposing of the batteries.
I think that's going to have to. I think that whole thing's going to have to change. I do. I mean, I don't know what or with new technology or who knows, but I got to get Sean Mills back on again. I always love talking about batteries.
I saw these pretty crazy electric trucks on, I think it was LinkedIn earlier today, that they were like, the old streetcars with the electric streetcars with the wires overhead.
Yes.
these semis would come on the highway and they would like flip up this mechanism that touched to the wires, and it charged the vehicle while they were driving.
That's actually not a bad idea. I don't know, whatever, but so I wanted to pick your brain a bit because you decided that content wasn't the only thing you were going to do. You've also, everything else kind of feeds in to help support that as well. But
it's a big web.
It is a big web. And that's the beauty of it. It's like, if you're doing content, it's all the little funnels. If this little funnel drips $20 and this little funnel drips $100, you get enough funnels and, so what are your drip? I'm going to back up on that. What are your funnels been that you've been using to drip lately?
Well, the podcast is just a no income funnel for me. I've always, I guess the live stream ads on YouTube, but the audio podcast is always been ad free. It's always, I want to keep it ad free. That's just what I did to start when I listen to podcasts with ads, not ads that I read in the middle of them. Screw that. That's my show. I can do whatever I want. But the anchor ads or whatever ads, like pre-roll, mid-roll, shit like that. Yeah, I don't want to do that. So that's not an income. But YouTube is one of those buckets. The YouTube video ads is pretty cool when you get to monetize that. And I just added one. on YouTube, the shopping. I had seen this shopping thing on YouTube on the revenue tab, and I clicked on it a couple times, and it was like, connect your shop. Well, I have my website. I use Printify on my website, and then use that for merchandise on the website. And then I also have messed around with this thing called Redbubble. It's another kind of print on demand, but I've just been doing that kind of not connected to any of my brands with AI, like making mugs and t-shirts and different things, and just listing them separate, just its thing, just trying to see if it works or not. Yeah. And so I'm already managing these two different shops. And so I pulled it up and it said you had to have Shopify or these two other ones, Teespring. I guess it's now it's Spring and not Teespring, but it was Teespring when old people like me tried to use it when it first came out, and it sucked. And then there was another one that I had never heard of. And I was like, so I skipped over it. I didn't do anything with it. I'm like, fuck, I don't have time for another print on demand shit where I got to design more shit and put it up. Because even if it's the same stuff, you still have to go through the 8 million step process of designing it and getting it out there. And so finally I was sitting there, Corey had the day off, and we were having coffee, and I'm like, I should look at this shop thing and see, like, maybe I can dick around and figure out how to back end it and put Printify in there. And so I can just do it from my website. And I couldn't figure that out. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to set up a Teespring account. See, it's free. Screw it. I'll do it. I'll put 1 or 2 things up there and see how it goes. And so I did. And like, I made coffee mugs because my show is at 6 in the freaking morning. And if people are watching live, they're probably drinking coffee. I'm like, well, I should put some freaking coffee mugs up for sale for my live streams. And so I put them up there. I made a few. I haven't messed a lot with it yet, because it's just another thing. It's not like I design it in one spot and it goes to all 8 different places I have shipped for sale. This is like another one. But I'm going to keep pecking away at it, put little things up there and try different stuff. So that's another one of those drops in the bucket.
Tell me, I don't know if I've ever got you to share this one, but the super thanks that you do on a certain comment, that is I think that this is going to be one of the coolest things I've heard you come up with. Yeah.
Well, so YouTube, you can do super thanks. So, and you can do super chats. So if you're watching this, and you have a card connected to, YouTube or an account, give Tim a super chat and it'll show up in the chat as you paid it. You paid for the chat. And I think you got it turned on. I imagine you have it turned on.
Yeah.
And so that's cool. But a super thanks is like a like with dollars attached to it. Or, well, as we found out, it has all sorts of different currencies attached to it.
Yes, it does. Crowns
anyway,
or
I had this video. I have this video that I made. It's our best video. It's the best video we have on our YouTube channel. It's got like 65,000 views on it or something. For our channel, that's pretty outrageous. And basically, it was my Bluetooth earbuds that I loved had a problem with them where one of the earbuds was the volume was going completely out. It would like come up and then it would die out. And I was like, they were like $200. I'm like, I'm not throwing these things away. They're great other than that. And so I searched and searched and searched for like a week to try to find how to fix it. And I couldn't find anywhere how to fix it. And then buried in some Reddit, well, I found a bunch of ways to not fix it was the problem.
Of course.
There it is. Chris Dixon.
See, I knew he would. Thanks, Dixon.
So I finally found buried in this Reddit like forum, like, man, it was probably 10 messages buried deep. This is how far I was reaching for this shit. How to do it, how to fix it. And I tried it and it fucking worked, dude. It worked. And I was ecstatic. And I was like, the world needs to know how to fix these earbuds, because Jabra support themselves said, you just need to do a hard reset. You need to update the firmware. You need to do this. And none of it fucking worked ever. And so people were like throwing $200 pairs of earbuds away. And all you had to do was clear the shit out of the equalization hole, because your ear gunk fucking plugs it up.
Oh, sure.
And it thinks the volume's super loud, so it turns it down. So you take a pin and you clean it out and it works. So you don't have to throw your $200 earbuds away. And so I made a video, and it was like a 5-minute video, and people are like, that doesn't fucking work. That doesn't work. And then they do it. They're like, oh my God, it worked. And so when we monetized, I was like, fuck it. I don't care. People save $200. I'm going to call them out. I'm going to be like, yo, so I made a stock reply and saved it to the clipboard on my phone. And basically, when people are like, awesome, dude, it worked. Thank you so much. My stock reply is, awesome. I'm so glad it worked for you. If you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. And if it saved you any money, shoot me a super thanks. I appreciate it. And enjoy the tunes. And every single person that comments it, I copy and paste that, copy and paste it, copy and paste it. And probably 1 out of 10, 1 out of 15 will send me some cash. They reply with a super thanks. But the first cool, like, I will get $5, $5.
Yeah.
Cool, awesome. I mean, YouTube takes a bunch of it, but whatever, it's like $250 more than I got without doing that. And so one day I woke up and I had a message from YouTube, and it was like, $20 super thanks. And I'm like, holy shit, cool. Somebody actually really appreciated this video. Holy crap, it saved him $200. They tipped me $20. This value for value. This dude gets value for value. He understands. I got all excited. I sent it to you, and you were like, dude, that is awesome. And then like 3 hours later, I was looking at my YouTube revenue, and it was like, it went up like $1.78. And I'm like, what the fuck? I got $20. Why did it? And so I started looking at it. It was like some like Austrian whatever they used
crowns.
there.
It was a crown, wasn't it? Or
yeah,
something?
Austrian crowns, 20 Austrian crowns. It was like $1.78 or something. I'm like,
but it was still cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I've had a couple come in like that. In other currencies, so now I know to look for it. But yeah, and it was cool. I got a shout out from a cool a dude that he commented, and I like to follow the people that comment, and so I go and I follow his channel, and then I was getting updates when he would post videos, and I saw the title of the video was like, sent a super thanks to a dude that saved me $400 on YouTube. And so I watched his video, and it was a video of him watching my video and doing like the steps, and it fixed it.
Awesome.
And his face lit up like, oh my God, it worked. And he was so excited. And he's like, he didn't just save me the $200 for the new Jabras. He saved me $400 because I was going to buy the Bose new Bose ones that are like $400. He's like, but I love these earphones. I didn't have to buy new ones. So fuck it, I don't have to spend $400.
Dude. And see, I knew as soon as you mentioned Super Chat, we got to shout out Chris Dixon, my brother from another mother, $6.99 Super Chat. And Jake did one better, a penny better at $7. So thank you guys. And Dixon had a question. Where was it? Yep. Right here before. Yeah, right there. Do you have to design this, talking about the maybe the Teespring or whatever? Do you have to design your designs, like your coffee mugs, on their platform, or can you upload?
As far as I saw, it was upload it, but you have to design your design first. So you're uploading either just a photo or multiple photos, or doing text block. So there wasn't like an art designer in there. You have to have like your logo already made, and you upload it and then center it on whatever type of product you want to.
So then, since you didn't have enough to do, you decided, what's a better idea than to start sending cuttings and whatnot out in the mail? Hey, you started the mail order plant business, which I can't even figure out.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing that for a long time. So that was probably the most lucrative business on my homestead. We were in Minnesota for probably the last 3 or 4 years we were there. Was selling comfrey root cuttings and crown cuttings. So when we decided we were going to sell the farm, I decided I wanted to keep doing it, and kind of brainstorm, just because try to think outside the box a little bit. And I have a lot of community members and networking people that think outside the box. We came up with a solution that I started some people's farms from my stock. I donated startup farms to them. They got their farms established, and now they fulfill my orders, because I had 5 years of Etsy sales and build up and SEO and the knowledge of how to run the ad. I just needed somebody to place my orders. So we came up with an agreement with splitting the profit from the orders, and basically I still sell by proxy. And now I also have set up on the website some coaching services to basically do the same with you. Not necessarily have you fulfill my orders, but come up with a custom plan for you, a custom order size of comfrey, what would work for your property and the size of what you want to do, and what ideas you have with other products, because it's not just the roots and the crowns. It's like there's like 8 different products you can get out of that plant. And you kind of guide you through that first year to 2 years, depending on what you want, whether you just want me to teach you how to grow the plant, or how to grow the plant and then run the business, because it takes about a year to get established. But once it's established, you just do it when you want, and as much as you want or as little as you want. So
that's cool. And then you managed to find some land to plant some as well locally, hey?
Yeah, I mean, this guy called me. I think I've been on his show a couple times.
Cool dude. I heard he's an alright guy.
Yeah, he was telling me that he was picking up a piece of property. We were down in Texas last winter, and we didn't really know where we were going, what we wanted to do. We knew that we liked Tennessee. We knew that Tennessee was the kind of that place that I described earlier, where we could stay all year if we had to. We could make the summers work. We could make the winters work. And so we were kind of hunting what we wanted to do around here. And then you were like, dude, I just bought a property in Tennessee. And I'm like, oh, no shit. No shit. Whereabouts? And you told me the town. And I was like, okay. Did some poking around, talked to some community members, did some networking here and there. And I was able to find a super cool place to park our camper. Like, what is it, like 25 minutes from your place, from the property you bought. And so we talked, and I said, hey, what are you planning on doing with that thing? I have a kind of a consulting thing I'm trying to put together, helping people do things with properties like you have, like a secondary property that's not going to be your main living place, or you could do it on a main living place and put some campsites in it and rent them out and get some side income going on property. And part of that was we installed some Comfrey on that property, and we'll try to figure out all sorts of different income streams for you through that property and set that up. So that's another thing I'm helping people try to figure out how to do.
For us, hopefully you'll make money out of this too. That's the plan, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Absolutely. So
that's definitely the plan.
You got Comfrey. You looked at biochar as well, right?
Yep, biochar is in the works. We both, myself and the guy I'm going to be working with on the next step, are both extremely busy right now. So we're holding on that meeting for a little bit. But basically, I've come up with an idea for a biochar system that could be portable, that you could take to secondary properties, that you could we're not sure if we're going to sell the units or sell the plans or both or what we're going to do, but basically once you have this unit, you could take it to a remote property, do your clearing for a house or whatever you want, clearing deadfall, whatever material you want to run through it, but do a clearing, sell the biochar, and then move it. It'll be portable. It'll be on a trailer. It will be kind of self-sufficient, and you could use it as a side hustle or just a one and done, pay for itself, and then have it on the property type of system. So that's going to be kind of a R&D place for it.
So again, you've got another situation where, I mean, you're going to build something, which you'll have, but other than that, again, you don't need to have any land. You don't need to have any material or stock. You're going to go and offer a service or consulting, one or the other or both, and make money that way so that you can kind of keep living the minimalist lifestyle.
Well, yeah. Well, my goal is to develop the system and prove it out on your property and then just sell the system.
I love it. So
I don't want to be in the biochar business. I want to be in the biochar equipment business and business coaching and go through it once, get it set up, and then sell the dream, man, sell the plan. Let other people go do it in other places.
Which is a bit like what we're doing now with Delinquent's Gully as well, because so this is I think this is good. No, I know this is going to be the big one for you. So talk a little bit about, I mean, we've talked a lot about the property and different things, but how are you using that property to kind of build this idea that you're coming with? I don't want to give it away without you telling it. So
I mean, well, your property is ideal. Like when we first started talking about it, and you kind of laid out what you wanted at the end. You wanted like a compound almost. Like, we don't like the word compound. That sounds like all militia and shit. But basically you wanted several buildings spaced out to where if you and your family needed or wanted to go away somewhere, you could all coexist on the property and you weren't all on top of each other living in a little cabin somewhere out in the woods. Like, you had a cabin for you and Becky. The kids had the cabin, the kids' kids or the kids' cousins or whoever, friends, or, that was your picture.
Yes.
My my experience and talking to you, I was like, okay, you can only be here for 6 months out of the year. And if you are on that property for 6 months out of the year, that would shock me. You have other things to do in the U.S. than to sit there for 6 months out of the year. So let's use the beautiful weather in Tennessee to your advantage and let some people camp there. Have some events there. We're kind of looking into all sorts of different uses, but basing it around campsites and renting the campsites, and then eventually cabins that will be spaced out, that will be your compound, whatever, quote unquote compound. And then as things develop, so clear a campsite, that's the next cabin site. Then we build a cabin there, clean another campsite, and kind of make them interconnected with trails, and just make money with the property when you're not there, and have the added benefit of people being able to get outdoors and experience outdoors and enjoy outdoors. Because man, it is off grid. It is no power, no cell phone signal for a lot of services. And basically we're getting to the point where probably not a whole lot of vehicle on the property. I mean, the front of it's going to have a driveway coming in where the vehicles can come in and park, but basically past the outhouse is going to be I mean, you were thinking about picking up an electric side by side. I don't think you're really going to put much gas powered vehicle up there other than a 4-wheeler or a side by sides, which is, it's really going to be a really cool property. But the things we're building there are going to be duplicatable, repeatable. We pounded out kind of a couple different things about the outhouse. We walked through building it. We got the bones of it. I still have some adjustments to do on it, but once that's done, we can then move forward and build another one at your location. And then that's going to be a repeatable plan. That's going to be a saleable product. Going around and helping people do this on their properties, whether it's a secondary or even their back 40 that, you know, they don't do a whole lot with. That's another kind of honeypot there that I'm trying to dip into.
So we're not just developing it as an income source. You're also developing it as a model, a proven model. Hey. Yeah, for sure. And what can be done. And everything's different, you know, every single one's different. I just a couple of weeks ago took a trip to North Carolina to talk to some property owners, to look at some properties, and they were completely different. They were completely different area, completely different setup. The clientele was probably going to be different. The focus of the property, so I looked at 2 properties for the same person, and they were probably, I think, 10 miles apart. The 2 properties were completely different. Who you would market those to, where you would pull where I would want my customers pulling from. The clients coming from, where I am going to advertise for them if they decide to have me run the thing and manage it, where I was going to focus the attention and try to draw the attention from is going to be completely different. And they were 5 miles apart, 10 miles apart. So I got a lot of ideas. I've stayed at over 200 of these things. Like, so the system is something I hadn't heard of before you started talking about it, but HIPCAMP, right?
Yeah, that's one of them for sure. That's the one I'm most familiar with. That's the one I'm going to build my my recommendations when I do a consulting thing. It'll be based around HIPCAMP and how HIPCAMP works. But there's a bunch of different sites, and they all play very well together. So HIPCAMP being the one that we liked the most, that was going to work the most for us, it plays well with other sites. So you're not just limited to that. If once you put that listing up, all the calendars will kind of interact with each other.
So what kind of So say somebody has a raw piece of land and they want to do this themselves, or maybe more than that, maybe they want to call some crazy dude who's spending the winter in Tennessee and they want to get you to come out and check it out. What do you look for? How do you decide if you can make money on a property?
I mean, make money is all a matter of what your expectations are of making money. Are you looking to pay the taxes on a secondary undeveloped property, which is probably going to be very minimal? If the valuation, if you're holding on to it and you're not using it, hopefully you're not paying a ton. So you don't have a lot of overhead there. You don't have a lot of expenses you're trying to cover. So anything positive. But what the biggest thing I look for is kind of the area and where you're going to draw people from. Okay. I've kind of explained a couple different things to you where there's been properties that are just a gravel pad that we've stayed at, but they were within a half a mile of I-40. So people traveling that just needed someplace to get off and park. Yeah, you can pull $40-$60 a night for a place to just drop your truck, drop your trailer and get in. No electric, no anything. I think that qualifies as making some money. But something like your property takes a little longer, takes a little bit more development. I think we're gonna have to get creative with the type of clients we try to pull to the retreat or to your property. Maybe offer some different packages so you can really work with something. You can work with any property. Some are going to be easier than others. Some are going to be a slam dunk, like, holy crap, I can't believe you're not making money already with this property. And others are going to be like, man, if we make a couple $100 a year, hopefully it covers the taxes, and it's worth the hassle of doing it, because at that low of a volume of people, it's not it's not that big of a hassle. Like, so you got to understand, like, if you are worried about how much work it is on your part or how much work it is for someone to do, the more money you're making, obviously, the more you have to do.
And I think also the people, if you don't have a built-in clientele of people basically just driving by your dooryard, I think kind of what you're getting at is we have to create some value as well, don't we?
Yeah. So your properties is, as I drive around, I look and I saw, like, the first thing I noticed was the Tennessee River's 8 miles from your property on the nuts, on the odometer. There's a river access. So people, I don't know, I have to dig in further what the culture is here, but finding those things. My property in Minnesota, when we set our camp up, we had the longest snowmobile and ATV trail in the state was accessible by dirt road. So you didn't have to, like, trailer your stuff over to park. You could camp at my site and leave my property and get there on your ATV or your snowmobile. That was a big attraction. I'm looking at marketing towards maybe I'm big on the youth, like getting youth back outside. So kind of talking to youth groups and Boy Scout troops and things like that could use it as a bigger group. And you can find some different avenues there, doing workshops, outdoor skill workshops, or even just any type of workshop. Doesn't have to be outdoor skills just because you're staying outdoors. We were talking digital retreat, like digital detox retreats, because there is no signal there. And you could bring some people in from quite a ways if you have the right setup. So it's all kind of what you want to put into it, what you're looking to get out of it.
What are we, like 90, less than 2 hours from probably 2 hours from Nashville Airport, I'm thinking. So
hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get people that fly in and just up here too, gunfighter concealment. And I don't know why I never really thought about this before, but said, I'd love to rent a small cabin on your property every time I took a class at Tactical Response. So, maybe somebody doesn't want to stay in the bunk room at Tactical Response, or would like to, spend a couple extra days and fart around in the woods. This would be a great idea for that.
Well, and then you get into really understanding that you can rent the site out. So RF is probably an hour. What says an hour from your property to SOE?
40 minutes. 40 minutes.
40 minutes. So if we book the site out for campers, for off-grid campers,
Right.
maybe have showers set up, whatever. But we provide transportation back and forth. So we rent a panel van or whatever, or a shuttle bus or whatever, and transport people back and make 2 trips a day or whatever, to where they're staying. Not if they want to be in a more quiet, laid back than the populated campground at SOE, then you also have that offsite option too. But you don't have to worry about driving back and forth, or you can drive back and forth if you want. So.
If people wanted to hang out late and drink and then get a shuttle back, you could have one shuttle at the end of the presentations that day, and then another one in the evening, and it would.
Yeah, when John shuts the gate, that's when the shuttle leaves.
Yeah, like there's just, and this we kind of brought. This is how Corey always laughs when Brian and I get together, because we just kind of bounce ideas back and forth like ping pong, and one person will talk for 3 minutes straight, and then the next one jumps right in. And this is kind of how we eyeball and send ideas back and forth until we get the idea that works.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. And that's I mean, that's another thing that I'm willing to do for people for money. I'm willing to do a lot of things for money, man. But yeah, just troubleshooting problems or brainstorming ideas, or just kind of working through that next step. Maybe you need somebody to sit down and bullshit with you for an hour and work out, bounce ideas from a different point of view off you. Like, that's all stuff that I do fairly well. As a former technician and troubleshooter, that's what I did for a living, basically for a decade, through a bunch of different maintenance jobs. It really, one of those jobs was at a startup, and there was no manual. There was no way to look up how to fix the thing. You had to figure it out. So working with engineers and working with some of the best maintenance guys I've ever worked with, on that really taught us how to come up with solutions when there is nobody to give you the answer. We had to figure out the answer, whether it was mechanical or chemical or whatever. We had to, and there was no way to look inside it. It was all enclosed inside machinery. We were relying on data points and experience. And it really gives you a different perspective on how to look at things and how to figure out answers, and how to figure out the answers that people can't come up with because you just ask them the right questions.
What I like too. So again, you're a nomad. You guys have, you hop in a vehicle, an RV, and you guys can go where you want. So you're not tied down, but you've managed to find access to land that you can work on, practice on, make money from. So, I mean, people say it all the time. I can't do it. First off, they look and they're like, all right, I'm traveling around, I'm not going to make any money, or excuse. Well, you got land, you have a community. And so one of your big things is consulting. That's going to be one of your ways to make money. Like you said, Corey, she works remotely. That's great. Also, I love talking about service-based businesses, like being a handyman and that sort of thing. Yeah. So have you dipped your toes into that yet?
A little bit. So since we're sitting here until May, I was like, all right, I'm kind of streamlining what I'm doing. We had built our everything around traveling all the time. Mm-hmm. We realized the cost of that. We realized the purpose of this was to find properties, and to do that, we have to sit down and make sure that was the problem. We never sat at the property we bought before. Right. We want to stay around. And as we decided to sit down, I was like, all right, well, it would be worth building a little reputation or a little side hustle where we're sitting. so I kind of started poking around, and I was wondering, I met the guy that owns the restaurant in town and was wondering maybe if I would just sling drinks some night, because I have experience doing that. And I started asking maybe just work at the gas station or do some maintenance work for him, because that's the industry I just got out of. It wasn't right. The pay wasn't right. The opportunity wasn't there. But then I started talking to Norman and Herschel that we met at SRF and the work day at your place, and they had some work to be done. They were replacing a roof on their house, and they have a remodel house going on, and they needed some help. And so they called me, and it kind of cemented that idea that I kind of already had it. I was going to already just start pursuing a little bit of the handyman stuff. Maybe put a card or a flyer up at the gas station and the post office. And it's stuff that you can just kind of do anywhere and pick up and do. And I got limited tools, man. Like, I got what I can take on the road. I know what I can do. I know what I could figure out how to do. And I know, so I'm just going to try to roll with that. Like, partition out a couple days a week and start doing a little side gigs and handyman shit.
One thing you're really good at, and I think I do okay at it too, but talking to people and making connections when you go to somewhere new, because I mean, you guys have been there 6 months now or however long it's been, and you mentioned going to a bar, talking to the bartender. You mentioned the gas station. One you didn't mention tonight, but you've told me before, is the post office.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah, if you're in a small town, you roll into a small town, you want to know everything about the town, you got to go talk to the person that works at the post office, because there's usually only one, and the person that owns the gas station or is the regular employee in the morning at the gas station. So you talk to those two people in town, and you can pretty much figure out anything you need to. So we also need the post office because we get our mail general delivery. Basically, I use the post office's address with my name, and they hold it for me. So I get stuff in the mail that I want to get, like Amazon packages and coffee every month. And so I go and make sure to meet and be very friendly with the post office lady. And the lady that works at the dump. Yes, I do know the lady that works at the dump, and she just stays in her little hut. She doesn't bother me. But no, I went and met the post office lady. I brought her coffee, and I said, hey, here's the deal. I'll probably be getting mail here. This is my name. This is what I do. Every time I came in, I'd bring her like a little coffee sample or a Duction cup or this or that or the other thing. And I got to know her. I got to know the gas station people because they talk to everybody, and I can speak their language because I've worked with them for the last 5 years and talked to them as a technician. So I talk to them in a language they don't hear from customers very often, and you stick out. I'm also 6'5", and I stick out regardless. So you just make yourself you get to know people, and you start asking questions, and you can find out pretty much anything you want to know. You're muted, dude.
I'm going to throw in my favorite that I haven't mentioned yet. the dude who loads your lumber at the hardware store.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Man, I'm telling you, now for me, it's because I worked at a hardware store for 10 years. But if you want to find a handyman, go talk to the guy that's either selling you the building supplies or the guy that's throwing it on the back of your truck when you pick it up. If you want to know a trades guy in town, they'll find it for you. If you want to know the houses that are getting repoed soon, that they'll tell you that. So yes, that's the way.
That's how we found the Amish guy that did a shitload of work on our farmhouse and ended up actually selling us a hog, actually 2 hogs, I think, when we were in Minnesota. We were buying windows, and the guy quoted us the window price, and then he quoted us the install price from the guy they use, and it was double the price of the window. And we're like, what the fuck? I'll just put it in myself. And Corey's like, is there anybody that do it cheaper? She's like, well, there's the Amish guys. They'll do it for cheaper, I'm sure. We ended up getting in touch with him. The guy ended up putting windows in for us. And like I said, sold us pork and all sorts of fun stuff.
You just never know how. Yeah, you know, it's a conversation in the Telegram group earlier today. Kerry Brown mentioned he just met a couple of really cool people who I think maybe they saw a permaculture sticker or something in Kerry's.
They saw his business advertisement on his side of his Jeep and got asked what that was, and he mentioned permaculture, and it was like on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I was at Lowe's in Savannah not too long ago and met a cool dude there who just moved to town to start a handyman business, who had just moved from Hawaii, him and his wife. Build and supply places as well, just talk to people in the parking lot. But honestly, just be a people person, right? And you don't have to love people, but work on your skills of talking to people. Hey.
Well, I mean, you can go to Lowe's and walk around and tell the people that need help. And if you can help them, because you know the employees can't. So go to a department that you have a halfway decent knowledge base about. Like, you know, I did a lot of plumbing. Like, I can go into the plumbing section when the dude's looking at the PVC pipe. I can be like, hey, what are you working on? Because you look confused as fuck. Do you need help?
That's true. That's actually really, really good. I like that. So which one of those has been your most successful so far, would you say, of the different swings or kicks at the can you've been doing?
Comfrey probably still. Yeah. I think it will always be. It's so set in motion.
Sure.
I've been working, like you said too, with a lot of affiliate stuff and getting away from a lot of the Amazon affiliates and going direct affiliates. I'm having success with some of that, which is nice. That's kind of that's been a pretty decent bump in revenue. But I would say the Comfrey,
Okay.
the HIPCAMP consulting is still kind of in the works. It probably this week will get launched on the website, like the actual pricing and packages. I just had a generic contact for services, and now that I've kind of really figured out what I'm actually doing in the way of services and how far I wanted to travel, because we were always under the assumption that we were going to be traveling all over. And now that we're sitting down, it really changes the dynamic of how far I want to go to do a consult. And I figured out how to do them more effectively virtually. So I don't have to go to the people, and it's a lot less expensive when I don't have to go to them.
So, you know, you're going to stay in Tennessee at least till May anyway. Are there anything you haven't tried yet, or do you get anything you're in the next year that you might like to make an attempt at to see if it'll work in a nomadic lifestyle? Or are you full enough? Is your plate full enough now that you're okay with just doing the reps for all the things you're doing and watch the money come in after a bit?
I don't know. Like I always have one or two things in the hopper that are kind of developing in the background. There's always something else that I can fall back towards. Like I said, I'm messing around with the shop on YouTube, which I hope does something. But when I was talking about Redbubble, that working with AI and the AI art and doing some different exciting things, making products on there, it's going to be a quantity over quality type of thing. It's not going to be a big hit, but it's going to be something that kind of sets in motion and runs itself. I want to get to a point. I saw somebody once say that they asked him where all their revenue came from, and they said, I don't know, I couldn't shut it off if I wanted to. That's what I want to be able to say to you is I don't know where it comes from. I just look at the account and I do the accounting on the back end, and I couldn't shut it off if I wanted to. It's just coming in. And it might be $1 from each of the million different places, or $50,000 coming from 4 different places. But I just don't want to be able to shut it off, man.
How do people find you, Brian, if they want to support you, when they want to throw money at you?
They can throw it a lot of different ways, but thelotsproject.com, that's LOTS, lots as in like property lots or lots of things, not lost, lotsproject.com. I think the first 4 times I was on the show, people thought it was lost. So
you're a bit lost. So am I.
I mean, it all fits is the problem. Like, it all fits. Property, lots of different things, living outside the system, lost because we're wandering around in an RV. Like, it could all fit. It could all fit. So thelotsproject.com. I do a podcast Monday through Friday morning, live 6 a.m. Central on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. And man, I've been giving away a shitload of Bitcoin on Friday mornings. I've been doing this drawing, man, for quite a while. We started a ways back doing 5,000 Satoshis every Friday. And, you know, it's like 30 cents or whatever to 40 cents, 50 cents every Friday. But it's the point of trying to get people immersed in value for value. I pay it out in Telegram, and I ask people to like tip people with it. You know, if you want to throw the 37 cents into your Bitcoin stack, whatever, I'm not going to blame you. I'd do the same thing, but you know, spread it around, give a little bit away. And so the premise of what happened was I was giving it away every week, and I was like, this is kind of silly. Like, it's the same people watching. So we're just big mental masturbation circle jerk giving our Satoshis back and forth. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to up the game. I'm going to double it, and I'm going to give away 10,000 to $1, but we need 10 people to enter into the drawing. I use the StreamYard giveaway tool. And I said, if we don't get 10 entries, I will double it next week. So I'll add 10,000 more, and until we get 10 live entries. And so it got up to like 50,000 Satoshis. We got 10 entries, and I gave it away. And I said, okay, well, when we give it away, it goes back to the beginning. If we can give it away the first week, if we can get to a week where it's 10,000 Satoshis and I get 10 entries, then I'll bump it another 5,000. So then it was 15,000 every week, and I needed 15 live entries to give it away. Well, last week, I think somebody redonated back their winnings, and we ended up giving away 50,000, I think 50,000 Satoshis. This next weekend, or this next Friday, we're up to 25. We're up to 25,000 a week. If we don't get 25 entries, I put another 25 in. But we had somebody give half their winnings back from the week before, and somebody else donate. And we're like up to 75,000 Satoshis on Friday morning if we get 25 entries. So I don't know. That's getting up there. That's getting up to a couple bucks, you know, $20 worth of Bitcoin.
That's awesome. Well, can I give you 100,000 Satoshis to go toward that next week, so that maybe we can get that many people in?
Yeah, man, that's for sure. For sure. We'll figure that out.
I'll send it over then.
It'll be up to 175,000 at that point. So,
and where do people need to be to enter so that they can win and check your shit out?
That's Facebook. You can watch the live stream on YouTube. It's the easiest place. So our YouTube Friday mornings. I try to get that one published earlier in the week so I can spread it around. You can put reminders. But the Facebook a comment on Facebook, a comment on YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. That morning when I start the show, there's a hashtag that you'll put in any of the comments in any of those places. So if you don't like YouTube but you like Twitch, it'll work. It'll register Facebook or YouTube. So Yeah,
Okay.
you show up 6 a.m. Central on Friday morning, and I put out the hashtag. You can look in the comments. There's plenty of people that are throwing it in there, and that's how we'd
awesome.
roll.
Cool.
So show up, have coin. I try to do Bitcoin topic on Friday. It only really makes sense to talk about Bitcoin, but on the podcast I talk about all sorts of different stuff. Like tomorrow isn't a good example. It's just a random day, but later in the week we're doing winter homestead fails from Minnesota. We're talking about growing microgreens, talking about Bitcoin, talk about self-sufficiency, homesteading, RV living, anything really, entrepreneurship, side hustles.
Awesome.
And if hey, I don't want to spoil a big surprise for a guy that's way bigger than me, but not you.
That's okay.
I got a Thanksgiving special that's coming up that I'm going to be on. So if you listen to Side Hustle Nation, you can hear the Side Hustle podcast, which is Nick Loper. He has Side Hustle Nation, I think, is his website. The Side Hustle Show is his podcast. I get to be on his Thanksgiving special, so check it out when Thanksgiving rolls around.
It's already gone by in Canada. Do I have to wait till next year?
The U.S. Thanksgiving.
The fake Thanksgiving. Okay, fair enough. I can live with that. So, all right.
Yeah. Backwood said join the live chat, and you got to put up with him. MSU Rifles there in the mornings. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate you coming on short notice, and I think thanks for sharing some of your secrets. I think it'll help some people out.
I don't have any secrets. I'm willing to tell everybody anything.
I know you are. Well, thank you, brother. I'll let me close up the show there, and I'll be right back with you. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I mean, what more can I say about Brian? He's a good friend. He's literally working on our land down in Tennessee. But more than that, he is a guy that I just want to spend time with. He's a type that you can bounce ideas off of, and if it's stupid, he'll tell you that too. And that's what I appreciate about him. But I remember when he told me he was going to start his podcast, and he has done it, and he has far surpassed in episode count what I'm at this point. So make sure you give him some support. Remember, it's the Lost Project. No, I'm just kidding. thelotsproject.com, and you can get him at the Lots Project on YouTube. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming in an hour earlier. It makes life easier for everybody. I think we're going to see how it works, but I love having you here. We'll see you Thursday evening for the next show of Workshop Radio. And as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.